Welcome to GTS Car Life. I'm Thomas. Today, we'll take a look at the 2020 Toyota Supra. So, this is the all-new 5th generation Toyota Supra. Easily one of the most anticipated new car launches in many years. But can this car possibly live up to all the hype? Is this all-new 2020 Toyota Supra worthy of the legendary Supra name? The first Supras were not much more than upgraded Toyota Celicas, much in the way the Mustang GT is a higher performance version of a Mustang. In fact, for the first couple generations, the car was known as the Toyota Celica Supra. Early generation Supras shared an inline 6-cylinder which traces history to the Yamaha modified engine in the famous Toyota 2000 GT, a car which, if you can find one today, can easily set you back $1 million or more. The first generation Celica Supra launched in the United States in 1979 and was produced through 1981. This first Supra was essentially a Toyota Celica coupe with its hood elongated to make room for a 6-cylinder engine and an upgraded suspension, some luxury content, and additional trim. 1982 brought the second generation Celica Supra to the United States, which continued to share major components with the lesser 4-cylinder Celica models. Again, the hood was lengthened to make room for the 6-cylinder engine. For the second generation, however, Toyota invested in additional changes to further differentiate the top-line Supra version from lesser Celicas. The hood now featured pop-up headlamps instead of the 4-cylinder Celica's tilted back exposed headlamps, while the rear hatch and other trim pieces were covered in a high-gloss black. The interior received more significant styling upgrades, and for the first time, the inside of a Supra was a very attractive and exciting place to be. I remember being truly wowed when I sat in the all-new second generation Supra at its debut. This second generation model was planned to be produced through 1985. Delays in starting production of the scheduled third generation model meant that surplus 1985 Supras were labeled as 1986 models and were produced through February of 1986. Toyota introduced the all-new third generation Supra for 1986 and a half. The lesser Celica model went on its own, becoming a front-wheel drive sporty coupe and allowing the Supra to stand alone as a rear-wheel drive flagship model. The body styling was softened and elongated, with the turbo model introduced for 1987. Personally, I found the third generation Supra to be a step in the wrong direction. It was too large and the styling appeared weak and too stretched out. I felt as though the designers had lost focus with this model. It was neither groundbreaking as compared to the second generation, nor was it a significant improvement. In fact, it felt to me in many ways like a step backwards. Everything would change for 1994 as Toyota introduced the all-new and fabulous 4th generation Supra. This all-new, curvy and muscular coupe sold in the United States until 1998, though it continued to be sold in other markets as late as 2002. The 4th generation Supra represented a dramatic change for the line, with all new and aggressive styling, a choice of naturally aspirated or turbocharged engines, more driver-focused and sportier styled interiors, which moved away from the previous luxury look, and real attitude. The 4th generation Supra shared a marketplace with the 3rd generation twin-turbocharged Mazda RX-7 and the Nissan 300ZX in naturally aspirated and twin-turbo models. This was an exciting time in the heavyweight Japanese sports car market. Unfortunately, these cars were priced very high, with some models featuring sticker prices over $50,000. The Toyota and Nissan had become too big, heavy, and costly to sell in sufficient volumes, while the ultra-lightweight and more minimalistic Mazda RX-7 twin-turbo was considered too bare bones and fragile by many. A reputation for questionable reliability for Mazda's rotary engine didn't help matters for the RX-7. Ultimately, these Japanese monsters were pulled from the landscape, leaving enthusiasts to move on to European and American alternatives, or to maintain and modify their existing models. In fact, today it is very difficult to find a stock 4th generation Supra. Toyota's 2JZ engine in GE and GTE varieties became legendary for its durability and tuner friendliness, and of course, the car was prominently featured in a huge street racing movie franchise, which only served to further grow awareness and excitement for the model. The Supra, like the DeLorean, has become larger in its afterlife than it ever was during production. Fast forward to the mid-2010s, and Toyota was once again looking for a way to grow beyond its image as a manufacturer of extremely reliable but stodgy sedans and SUVs. After the Scion debacle, failed to connect with younger buyers, Toyota executives decided the company should reintroduce the Supra model to add excitement and a performance image to the otherwise straight-laced brand. Of course, we all know one of the many challenges automotive manufacturers face today is that sedans and sports cars have fallen out of favor and are not selling in sufficient numbers to justify development and manufacturing costs. Too many buyers seem only to want SUVs and pickup trucks. A common solution is to share development of what will ultimately be no more than a low-volume halo car with another company seeking to accomplish the same. Enter BMW. No doubt, in any random poll of folks on the street, BMW would certainly rate as one of the most desirable automotive brands on the planet. I don't think that's disputable, which makes it that much more interesting that, aside from the manual transmission debate, the largest and loudest gripe from most enthusiasts is that the new Supra isn't a Toyota at all, but it's merely a BMW wrapped in Toyota clothes. As if BMW was some low-budget, third-world purveyor of less than desirable machinery. Truth be told, while most of the platform, including the engine, transmission, and major components, are in fact BMW, the car is actually assembled for BMW and Toyota by the famous contract manufacturer Magnus Steyr. So, are the gripes legitimate? Let's take a look at this all-new Supra and judge it on its own merit, purely as a new sports car. This new Supra is definitely a looker. It wasn't long ago that expressive, extroverted bodywork like this could only be found on mega-dollar, custom-made, and ultra-rare Italian sports cars. So, whether you love it, like it, or hate it, Toyota gets a lot of credit for building such a stylish and unique car, especially in these times. In general, I like the overall styling. In my school days, I had planned on being an automotive designer, so I can't help myself from looking at any design through a designer's lens. The styling is way above the price point on the car. $56,000 for this car as it sits right here, and the styling is far more exotic than what you would expect for $56,000. In general, I like the shape. I'd prefer to have more of a sharper edge to the hood here. I'm not a big fan of the BMW Z4 style front hood, but other than that, the car does have a lot of character and it's unique. So you've got some really nice aero bits. The front splitter has nice extensions. The tires and wheels look great. The wheels look a lot larger than the 19-inch that they are, but two different colors and they look really fantastic. The headlights are huge. Of course, you have the fake vents in the front of the car, fake vents on the hood, fake vents back here in the door. It would have been nice if they could have incorporated this part of the door into the actual metal instead of having a separate piece, but you know, all in all, it's a sharp looking car. The front end of the Supra has a very Formula One feel to it. It's very unique and I kind of like what they did up front. The Enzo Ferrari had a similar look and feel. The back end of the Supra is, to me, what it's all about. It's got tremendous shapes and style and bulges, and they really, really did a tremendous job back here. I like the silhouette. I like the way it tapers in, the small rear window, the massive bulges. Yeah, and the reverse lights being F1 inspired. It looks great. Even the door handles light up. So when you walk up to the car or get out of the car, there's a light behind here that lights it up. Very sensitive door handle. If I were styling this car, I wouldn't bring it down like this. I would maintain a larger window area. I think that would have helped making it feel better inside. And I'd prefer that styling on the outside. And then I would have just had more of a crease right here. But other than that, they did a really nice job. So, this new Supra makes quite the impression from the outside. You get a lot of style for the money. Inside, however, it's a completely different story. The feeling inside is of a very small space. It's dark and serious. All the essential pieces are here, but the feel is quite the letdown and falls far from the expectations set by the exterior. So the interior of the Supra is not a bad place to be, but for somebody taller like me, I'm 6'3", it does present challenges. The side windows are really low. In fact, the roof, there's plenty of headroom, but the roof actually wraps down for about 3 inches. So when you go through a drive-through like Starbucks or fast food, you can't see the attendant. They can't see you. That's kind of interesting. I actually had to do one of these earlier this morning. Also, when you're merging into traffic or backing up, it's very hard to see back here. There's just a tiny little window, but you can't really get much use out of it. The front window is also very narrow, but unlike other cars with the small front windows, you can still see traffic lights. So it doesn't make it too bad, but there's not a feeling of a lot of light. Obviously no sunroof, no panoramic roof, and again, the side windows are really, really short. The center console dominates the interior. Again, being just a two-seater, there is no seat room behind you. If you're tall, you're very limited on how much you can recline, so you kind of scoot the bottom of the seat forward just to get a little bit more rake, and then bring the steering wheel out. The steering wheel is fully adjustable for height and telescope, so that part's good. All the switch gear, the windows, the mirrors, the lights, the entire infotainment center, it's all BMW. The only thing in here that's not BMW is the Toyota badge on the steering wheel and the actual instrument binnacle. The interior is mostly BMW, which works well enough on serious German performance sedans, but it's completely out of place on a high-fashion Japanese coupe. I understand the cost-cutting requirements, but Toyota could have gained so much without spending a whole lot. Brighter trim, fabric, and leather choices alone would go a long way. Larger side windows would transform the feel, and also bring huge gains in functionality. The seats in our test car were covered in a rather bland-looking black leather with some fussy stitch detailing. The dashboard, doors, and center armrest were covered in a matching material. Interestingly, where the sister BMW Z4 has an opening center console for storage, the Toyota model has only 2 cup holders built into the surface. Carbon fiber and a combination of matte black and piano gloss plastic trim finish off the dash and center console. The BMW iDrive controller and infotainment system carry over intact, as do much of the switchgear. Like too many cars today, the large, high-mounted display screen looks like a last-minute add-on. I'll be happy when this fad blows over. Also, I would prefer a more stylishly designed and comprehensive electronic instrument cluster. As it is now, the style is neither attractive nor does it provide much information. It honestly feels low budget. On the plus side, the automatic transmission gear selector is easier to use than similar models from other brands, and finding your way around the controls is easy enough, even without reading a manual. The driver's selectable single-sided parking lamps seem out of place, however, in a North American market Toyota branded vehicle. If Toyota is able to sell enough Supras to justify keeping the model, which is no given considering the times, I would expect the interior to receive a comprehensive makeover. Like so much of this car, storage space too is a mixed bag. The trunk is fairly large for a sports car offering this level of performance, but the opening is much smaller than the actual space. I suppose that's a trade-off for the swoopy rear-end styling. Personally, I'm okay with that in this car. What I don't like is the excessive amount of burbling and fake engine sounds Toyota chose to include when sport mode is selected. I drive most cars, including the Supra, in sport mode as my default. If it weren't for government fuel mileage and emissions regulations, no doubt the Supra and other sporty offerings would forego the silly normal option. I mean, after all, nobody buys a sports car for normal performance. But with the Supra, Toyota has decided that we all want to pretend like we're 16 again, and they've engineered so many snaps, pops, and burbles, along with synthesized engine revving, that you feel like you're playing a video game, not driving a real car on a real road. It's fun for maybe the first half hour. After that, it's tiring and frankly silly. The performance of the Supra is much better than that. In fact, putting the electronic enhancements aside, this new Supra is quite a tremendous performer. This car feels strong, real strong. 0 to 60 happens in just under 4 seconds, and there's enough torque to have a blast, throttle steering your way around your favorite roads. The Supra is always ready and willing to run. Sadly, there is no manual transmission option, another major gripe among previous model Supra enthusiasts. But the transmission is quick and rarely misses a beat. The Supra really makes the most of its 8-speed lock-up torque converter automatic transmission. Toyota engineers dialed enough performance and enough comfort into the sports suspension to keep most buyers happy. For my taste, the steering feels a bit too light and disconnected at low speeds, but once you're going, you'll find handling that is among the best in class, and the brakes are strong and effective. I typically spend most of my time driving with my windows down, radio and air conditioning off. I enjoy the sounds, smells, and the whole experience of driving. Unfortunately, wind buffeting inside the Supra at speeds above 45 miles per hour forces us to keep the windows up with air conditioning on for most of our time with it. I can't imagine how this obvious design defect got past Toyota's development team. I didn't have time to take this car on track, but I did ride shotgun in another Supra while a very talented Toyota representative took me around the racetrack at Motorsport Ranch Crescent. I also spent a significant amount of time on track at Circuit of the Americas in Austin, running with a large group of new Supras, and I have to say I left very much impressed. On track, the Supra is quite capable and can do far more than most owners will ever ask of it. Acceleration is very strong, with the cars rocketing up to speeds approaching 140 miles per hour on the back straight with ease. The new Supra made small work of the turns as well, carrying excellent speed through the S's. BMW earned its reputation building drivers' cars, and they've definitely provided Toyota with a very capable package to build on. The Supra's 52% front and 48% rear weight distribution no doubt helped keep things in balance. So, the driving experience of the new Supra is largely enjoyable. This is a very, very capable car. It will run with the best in its class, and it will look far better than most while doing it. The Supra provides a real option in the mid-priced, high-performance sports car segment. In fact, Toyota is so eager to get its new Supra out on track, both so its new owners can discover its capabilities and no doubt to have the Supras seen by other enthusiasts, that they are providing all new owners with a free one-year membership in the National Autosport Association. NASA is a nationwide organization that, like some other companies, provides high-performance driver's education and track day experiences. But NASA takes it further. As one of only a handful of nationwide sanctioning bodies, they also host time trial events and full-blown semi-pro auto racing. Don't be surprised if you see some up-and-coming and even well-known drivers at NASA races like the 25 Hours of Thunder Hill, NASA Nationals, and some of the best tracks nationwide. So, what's the bottom line on this all-new Toyota Supra? The Supra occupies the middle ground in the sports car market. At $56,800 as tested, it's far more stylish and better performing than the lower-priced hot hatches and the entry-level Mustang and Camaro. But as a total package, it's not quite in the same league as the pricier models like the new Chevrolet Corvette, Porsche 718 Cayman GTS 4.0, and the BMW M2 competition. This new 5th generation Supra may be stuck in the middle, but this much is clear. If the unique styling speaks to you, and you're in the market for a daily drivable, high-style sports car with real substance and reliability, you could easily do worse, but you'll have a hard time doing much better. If you like the styling, don't be afraid to get it. It's a solid car. It's a combination of Toyota and BMW, and those are both good car companies. This car is a lot better than I thought it was going to be, and it does a lot well. At the end of the day, this Supra left me somewhat cold. This is a good car that wants to be a great car. The exterior makes a very bold declaration, and designers deserve a lot of credit for the styling. The performance, if you can live without a manual transmission, definitely backs it up. But between the lack of an engaging manual transmission and the boring, uninspired interior, where a driver and owner will spend most of their time, I found myself losing interest after a day with the Supra. You may feel differently. A sports car is a very personal purchase. Nobody needs a sports car. You want a sports car. You're not buying an appliance. A sports car needs to make you feel a certain way, just like a good relationship, a pet, or your favorite pair of jeans. If the Supra makes you feel that way, go ahead, pull the trigger. It's a good car. Just be prepared for all the thumbs up, smiles, and questions you're going to get. For the rest of us, maybe Toyota will finish the job, add a manual transmission, design a fitting interior, and then, maybe then, the Supra will be a car you need. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider subscribing and liking below so you won't miss our next episode. Also, what do you think about the Toyota Supra? Leave your comments below. Have fun, stay safe, and I'll see you out there.